Hello, children. Hope all of you are keeping fine. Things are not well outside, so I hope that you all are very much well and into your studies. So, continuing with your agricultural chapter, first, children, let me tell you the main producing states of the country, and accordingly, we will do the map work. First, we will do I'll inform you the states, and you will complete the map work likewise. You will take political map of India, use different political maps. 4 political maps you will use for the crops. Now, in the first political map, you will shade the states producing wheat, rice, jowar, bajra, ragi. Now, you will shade only the highest producing state. So, I am informing you the states. Please take it down. So, for wheat, the highest producing state is UP. We will shade UP. According to the latest report of the government, UP is the highest producing state of wheat, followed by Punjab. Punjab is second, but currently UP is the highest producing state and Punjab is second. For rice, you will shade West Bengal. Okay, you will be using different colors for different crops. Make an index and use different colors. For jowar, it is Maharashtra. For jowar, it is Maharashtra. For bajra, at present, the highest producing state is Gujarat, followed by Rajasthan. In your NCERT book, it may be given Rajasthan, but currently Gujarat is the highest producing state. Now, you can shade both the states here, Gujarat and Rajasthan, because in your book Rajasthan is given. So, you can shade Gujarat and Rajasthan for bajra, and for wheat, you can shade both UP and Punjab. UP is according to the latest information. And for ragi, Karnataka. Okay, I am again repeating. For the first map, for wheat, shade UP. UP is the highest producing state in the country for wheat. The second highest state is Punjab. For rice, West Bengal. For jowar, Maharashtra. For bajra, Gujarat is the highest producing state, followed by Rajasthan. So for bajra, you shade both Gujarat and Rajasthan because Rajasthan is given in your book. Ragi, Karnataka. So in the first map, you will shade these 5 crops. For the second map, you will shade cotton. For cotton, again Gujarat is the highest producing state, followed by Maharashtra. This is the latest updated information of the government. Cotton producing state, the largest cotton producing state is Gujarat in our country. Second one is Maharashtra. For cotton also you shade both these states. For jute, it is West Bengal. For rubber, it is Kerala. For maize, it is Madhya Pradesh. So, in the second map, we will shade these 5 crops. Cotton, Gujarat and Maharashtra. For jute, West Bengal. For rubber, Kerala. For maize, Madhya Pradesh. Now, for the third map, tea, Assam. Assam is the largest producing tea state in the country. For coffee, it is Karnataka. This is for the third map I am saying. Then groundnut, it is Gujarat. For groundnut, it is Gujarat. For sugarcane, it is Uttar Pradesh. And for pulses, it is Madhya Pradesh. So, for the second map, children, and the third map, I am again repeating. For cotton, it is Gujarat and Maharashtra. For jute, it is West Bengal. For rubber, it is Kerala. For maize, it is Madhya Pradesh. In the third map, we will shade Assam for tea. Karnataka for coffee, Gujarat for groundnut, and Uttar Pradesh for sugarcane, Madhya Pradesh for pulses. Okay, so you will use 3 maps, and you will use political map of India, and according to the state you will shade by using different colors, make an index and shade the state. You must take care that it must not overlap. Like for example, you will not shade any state which is having 2 crops. You will use separate map. That's why I have asked you all to use 3 separate maps for these different crops of our country. Now let me start with the Green Revolution. Green Revolution was a part of technical reforms. We have already done the institutional reforms in the previous class. Now let me start with the technical reforms. Technical reforms, from the term you can make out that there is use of technology in different ways. Now wherever there is use of technology, the technology is always meant to make the work easier, to make the work faster, to increase the productivity. So Green Revolution was also meant to do the same in the agricultural sector. So the Green Revolution was started in our country, introduced in our country by Sri M.S. Swaminathan. Sri M.S. Swaminathan introduced this Green Revolution. In fact, Green Revolution was being researched, different crops were researched since 1950s and 60s, and mostly from 1965 onwards the Green Revolution started in India, and the main aim was to make India self-sufficient in food grain production, because there had been famines. India's population had increased due to partition. India had to make itself a self-sufficient producing country to support its huge population. And of course there were some famines, droughts, which greatly affected our farmers and reduced the productivity. India was also dependent on foreign exports. Now this foreign exports means we were buying from different countries, so we were dependent on the foreign policies of that country. So indirectly we also wanted to reduce that dependency, because when we are dependent on the foreign policy of other countries, indirectly they will be controlling us. So India also wanted to reduce the dependence on the foreign countries and to increase the productivity, so that we are having buffer stock in the food grain, so that we can feed the entire population. And the first state which implemented this Green Revolution was Punjab, and the first crop was wheat. So there was lot of productivity of this crop. Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, they recorded huge production of wheat. And later on, this Green Revolution was experimented on other crops like rice, sugarcane, potatoes, etc. The basic items which are a part of Indian diet, they were included. Now this Green Revolution involved use of HYV seeds, use of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, irrigation water, that is all the modern inputs that can increase the productivity of the farmers. But there was some criticism to the Green Revolution, like it was mainly confined to the northern states. The farmer had to pay a lot of money for buying this input, and that means that farmers were taking lot of loans. The number of suicides among the farmers increased because most of them were unable to pay the debt, and it was mainly confined to northern states, so the other states, the southern states, were not happy with the Green Revolution, and that's why the institutional reforms were also introduced to increase the productivity of our agricultural fields. As more and more water was used up for supplying irrigation water to the fields, gradually our groundwater table was depleting. There was loss of biodiversity because only some main crops were stressed for growing, so the other crops or the minor crops were getting neglected, they were not grown. A lot of pesticides were being used, and so some of the organisms which were beneficial for cultivation or for increasing the soil productivity was getting killed, was getting destroyed. The natural soil fertility was losing, and it was artificially increased by the chemical fertilizers, which indirectly also created harm to the fields. So Green Revolution was criticized a lot by the environmentalists of our country. Then comes our White Revolution. The White Revolution was also meant to increase the dairy productivity of our country, so that the farmers who were keeping cattle, they can become well off economically, and it can become an alternative source of income for the farmers apart from earning from the agricultural fields. Also, there were some milk traders or milkmen who were up to some malpractices. They were charging according to their wish. So in order to reduce that also, White Revolution greatly changed the agricultural scenario, because the dairy sector is also a part of the agricultural sector. This White Revolution became a part of the Operation Flood, and it was introduced in 3 phases. The main brain behind the White Revolution was that of Dr. Verghese Kurian, and it was introduced in 1970s. It aimed at increasing milk production through the dairy cooperative movement. The small cattle holders, the farmers keeping cattle, they joined together to form a cooperative, and through this cooperative they supplied the milk to large dairies where it was processed. So the main aim was to increase the milk production through dairy cooperative movement. India is the largest milk producing country in the world. At present, you will be surprised, children, that India is having a huge productivity of milk in the world, and of course it also aimed at adopting new method in case of cattle in animal husbandry, new methods of maintaining the cattle, providing them better nutrition, providing the cattle with better nutritional feed, so that the milk productivity improves, the quality and the quantity both improves. And this White Revolution led to our Operation Flood, and the state where it was first implemented was Gujarat. Now, in this technical reforms, children, apart from this Green Revolution, where the inputs were modernized and varieties were increased, number of seeds were researched, a lot of seeds were researched, and HYV varieties of seeds were developed, and the White Revolution was introduced to support the small farmers who were keeping cattle, them small milkmen who were unable to connect to the urban market. So apart from this green revolution and white revolution, there were other steps taken by the government. Different agricultural machine tools were prepared in the industries and were being marketed by the government at some reduced price, and also of course the industries themselves marketed. So these modern machine tools like tractors, harvesters, the sprayers of insecticides, all this greatly made the work of the farmers easy. The farmers, the rich farmers who could afford them, for them the work became very easy. Modern machine tools are generally used under extensive farming in the prairies or the steppes grasslands, because there the population is less and the farm size is quite huge. But in India the farm size is very small, and so the small farmers whose productivity is less, whose income is less, they are unable to afford or buy these modern machine tools like tractors and harvesters, because it meant spending or investing a lot of money. But still the government brought in these modern machine tools. At least some section of our farmers got benefit of these modern machine tools. Then the irrigation supplies water. Irrigation supplied water to our fields, especially in the northern plain. The northern plain is made up of sedimentary rocks. So this northern plain has different rivers also, perennial rivers flowing through them. So for the northern plains, development of irrigation work was quite easy, because lot of canals could be taken out from the rivers flowing through this area and supplied water to the agricultural fields. In fact, you will be surprised, children, the Indira Gandhi Nahar project is a irrigation canal which has been taken out from the river Satluj at Harike barrage, and it runs for few hundred kilometers in the dry desert lands of Rajasthan, and it has greatly helped to increase the productivity of our farmers. Many nomads traveling in the Rajasthan desert, who were moving from one oasis to another oasis with herds of cattle, have settled down, and they have left moving, and they are carried out cultivation. And now Rajasthan is also producing rice. One cannot imagine a state like Rajasthan where there is dry conditions producing rice, but under irrigation system they are producing. Rajasthan farmers are producing rice, wheat and a wide range of crops. So irrigation water has not only helped in converting the dry, barren areas of our country into agricultural tract, but they are also supporting year-round cultivation. It's a great achievement in the country that throughout the year cultivation can be carried out in the same pace, just with the help of irrigation water. Then comes our reform in the field of supporting the farmers through giving information. Through information technology also, the farmers have got lot of support. Special weather bulletins for the farmers, so that they can plan their crop calendar. They can plan what crops to be grown, when to harvest throughout the year. And this weather bulletin have made them less dependent on the vagaries of the monsoon. Vagaries means the destruction of the monsoon. we all know most of our farmers are dependent upon the monsoon rain, and they are very much subjected to uncertain condition because the monsoon is never on time. The amount of rainfall is never certain every year. It varies from year to year. This you have studied in class 9, children. So when the farmers are being made aware from before about the tentative date, I'm saying tentative, not the exact date, about the tentative date of the impending weather conditions of the coming of the monsoons, so they can easily plan out about their farming calendar, when to sow, when to harvest, what type of crop will be best suited. So every idea they are getting through these special weather bulletins. So here our meteorology department along with our information technology, that is our TV and the radio system, play a major role. Apart from that, children, there are different programs aired specially by the Doordarshan, by the radio for the farmers, so that they get the latest updated information about the farming conditions, about the new developments in the farming sector, what new variety of seeds are being introduced, what type of fertilizers are to be used, when to use, why to use, what type of additional supplement should be given to the soil so that the soil infertility can be reduced, how to increase productivity. So different information is supplied to the farmers with the help of the information technology, that is the radio programs and the TV programs in the Doordarshan. Lastly, improving the rural infrastructure. Rural infrastructure means the construction of roads is very necessary in the rural areas so that better connectivity can be maintained with the urban markets. Many farmers, they are dealing with perishable commodities, like the farmers, those who are producing vegetables, the farmers who are involved in the marketing of milk. They should reach the urban market daily, and they should reach to the people. Even the sugarcane farmers must have accessibility to the sugarcane mills, because sugarcane is a perishable commodity. It will dry up as soon as we harvest it, as soon as we cut it from the field. So the crop must immediately reach to the mills for their crushing and grinding. So infrastructure development in the rural areas is very much necessary to support our farmers. Sometimes in the rural areas there are kacha roads which just go out of use during the rainy season. So many roads has been constructed, many lanes and bylanes in the rural areas have been made pakka, and this has been done by the government under Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana, and the rural areas are now having better connectivity with the urban markets, and large rural areas are having good accessibility, good connectivity with the consumers. Nowadays our government has lately seen that there has been a lot of development in the rural infrastructure. Here, children, I want to specify one thing. Rural infrastructure also includes rural housing, then water supply, electrification, drainage, irrigation water supply, telecommunication connectivity. All these are part of our rural infrastructure. So our technical reforms not only includes the green revolution, the white revolution, but also the points related to introduction of modern agricultural machine tools for farming, development in irrigation system to support year-round cropping, special weather bulletins and agricultural programs for the farmers in radio TV, improving connectivity through development of rural roads, development of rural housing, water supply to the people for consumption, that is potable, drinkable water supply, which is very much lacking in the rural areas, proper drainage system so that the area may not be waterlogged. Generally it happens in the rural areas. Of course, irrigation water supply, which I have mentioned before also, telecommunication connectivity, this is also necessary for the development, overall development of the rural farmers. So children, in this agricultural sector, there is of course requirement of both technical reforms as well as institutional reforms if we want development of the rural areas. So let us have a look at the main points of Green Revolution. Green Revolution started by M.S. Swaminathan in between 1950s and 60s, mostly 1965 onwards. It aimed at making India self-sufficient in food grain production, reduce India's dependence on foreign exports. The first state to implement was Punjab, and the first crop to be experimented was wheat. Next, White Revolution. It was started by Dr. Verghese Kurian in 1970s. It aimed at increasing milk production through dairy cooperative movement. India is the largest milk producing country in the world as a result of this. Its another aim was adopting new methods in case of cattle in animal husbandry. Now the main points of technical reforms. First point, Green Revolution with the introduction of HIV seeds, use of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, etc. The second point was White Revolution through development in the dairy industry economically and providing an alternative source of earning for the poor farmers, reduced malpractices by milk traders and merchants. Third point, introduction of modern agricultural machine tools for farming. Fourth point, development in irrigation system to support year-round cropping. Fifth point, special weather bulletins and agricultural programs for farmers in radio and TV. Sixth point, improving the rural infrastructure so that better connectivity is maintained with urban markets, rural housing, water supply, electrification, drainage, irrigation, telecommunication, all are part of this infrastructure, rural infrastructure. So children, these are the main points of technical reforms. Please take it down and complete your map work.